Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Wednesday. Glad you're here. Today's Red Mic message: praise in public. Now, I've said a long time and often, you've probably heard me say it: fear and intimidation, no way to motivate. And there's an old leadership principle commonly associated with former Packers coach Vince Lombardi, guy that they named the Lombardi Trophy after. And this is praise in public, criticize in private. Now, whether Lombardi said those words exactly or not, the lesson behind it has survived for decades because it's true. And about 2 years ago, I was at a regulatory conference and I watched somebody completely ignore that principle. This speaker thought it would be a good idea to publicly call out several people and organizations in the room. He wasn't joking. He wasn't saying this lightly. This person was criticizing how things had been done, how certain items were worded, and basically putting people in that room on blast in front of their peers. And sitting there listening to it, I remember thinking, these people did not come here to be publicly demeaned in front of a room full of their colleagues. Now, to be fair, criticism and correction are necessary parts of leadership. In athletics, well, coaches get loud. They have to make corrections immediately and loudly because games move fast, emotions run hot. It's a loud environment usually. And sometimes football players are hard-headed enough that you practically have to yell to get their attention. That environment is built for fast correction. Business leadership is different, though. In business, effective leaders understand that constructive criticism is usually best delivered one-on-one in a private, quiet setting. Not because people are fragile, not because standards should be lowered, but because dignity matters. Public praise builds morale, and public humiliation, it's just going to build resentment. The problem with public embarrassment is that people stop hearing the correction and they start focusing on the humiliation. And once that starts, trust is out the window. Now, there are leaders who get short-term results through intimidation, yelling, slamming doors, embarrassing people in front of others. Fear can absolutely create and produce temporary compliance, but long-term leadership is different than short-term control. Strong leaders correct people without destroying them. They teach without belittling. They hold standards without making somebody a public example. And most people will accept the hard truth a whole lot easier than they will accept unnecessary humiliation. Correction is necessary. Humiliation is optional, and it's really unnecessary. Public praise motivates people far more effectively than public embarrassment. The goal of leadership should always be improvement, not performance, for the audience, for customers, for bosses, none of that. Fear may create short-term compliance, but trust is going to create long-term loyalty. You can hold high standards without stripping people of their dignity. And that's today's Red Mic message. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you find it helpful. I hope you're able to put some of these things in place in your life. People ask me, where do these things come from? Well, they come from my 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. I distilled all these things down to these Red Mic messages, and they're for you. So help me out, would you? Give me a like, a follow, and a share. I'd appreciate it a whole lot. If you think I'm full of it, let me know in the comments. I will either agree with you and back up and reset my ground, or I will quietly but respectfully tell you why I don't agree with you. Let's talk. Let's do it. I'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks for being here. And until next time, don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon.